next up, we've got Benita Pretorius, who is the supply chain manager for On the Dot Logistics. Benita's going to be chatting about enabling risk-free returns in the omni-channel environment, which I think is such a big topic at the moment. So Benita, over to you.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Sharon. And yes, welcome everyone. I think it's been quite a valuable conference this far, and there's a lot of content and a lot of information shared. So I hope everyone's found it valuable. I know that we all have had a long day, but I hope that you can spare me a couple of minutes of your attention to go through my topic today. We're really excited to be part of this conference, and I do hope that I'm going to offer some new insights and some food for thought. As Sharon said, my name is Benita Pretorius, and I represent On the Dot Contract Logistics, a subsidiary division of Media24. As a division of the larger Media24 group, we have access to a wealth of research platforms and are able to unlock marketing opportunities with our various newspapers and magazine brands within our group. On the Dot Contract Logistics is a fully fledged 3PL e-commerce service provider and last mile service provider to some of South Africa's premium brand retailers. Some of our larger clients include the Foschini Group, Woolworths, Clicks, and Mr. Price Group. So we are all acutely aware of the accelerated growth in online sales over the past 12 months and how this has impacted the retail landscape. According to Stats SA, South African online retail is heading towards a 42 billion rand sales figure in 2021. That is if the normal growth trend line continue. Times Live have also reported in a recent article in May that the clothing sector alone grew by 56% over the past year. So what are the key considerations impacting online shopper behavior? Deloitte undertook a recent study in February 2021 to unpack this exact question. And they found that there are 7 key aspects linked either directly or indirectly to the customer journey, which is of importance to South African online shoppers. Amongst these were the choice of delivery method and the related delivery fee, smooth and sleek checkout processes on the seller's website, access to a customer service team or after-sales support team, and a clear returns and refund strategy. Now we are going to focus on the latter in our session today, which brings me to our topic, enabling risk-free returns in the omnichannel environment. So it's estimated that online returns represent between 10 and 20% of all online sales, depending on the particular sector. According to Deloitte's Digital Commerce Acceleration Survey conducted in February this year, a cumbersome returns process ranked amongst the top 5 pain points for South African consumers. Their study goes on to reveal that 85% of respondents regarded the online returns policy as an important factor when making their decision on where to spend their money. And over 80% of the survey respondents further stated that they have a genuine concern about the ease of returning purchased goods. Now, there are a couple of primary online return channels available in South Africa. We accept that other channels may exist, but today we only want to unpack the following 3, which is designated drop-off points, in-store return desks, or lastly, dark store and online return channels. So if we start unpacking drop-off points, the following actions usually need to take place. The customer is required to prepare their parcel, complete some form of paperwork, add an identification number or label to the parcel, and drop that parcel off at a designated location. The online store personnel will then inspect the product at their first available opportunity and contact the customer and discuss the next steps. Then, depending on whether the return is accepted or rejected, the customer will be refunded via an EFT bank transfer, voucher, credit card, or the like. A processing fee may apply. With the in-store returns, the customer is expected to physically visit the store in person, produce the item which is being returned with an accompanying proof of payment. The product will then be inspected in the presence of the customer and either accepted or rejected. The customer can then be refunded immediately, either via store gift card, voucher, store card, or EFT or credit card. This advantage of this type of return is that the customer doesn't have to wait for their money, and any disputes around the item can be clarified right there and then. Lastly, if we review the online available channels, the customer is usually provided with an option to log a return either via a call center, on the original website where they made the purchase, or via a return software application tool. The return request is then evaluated by the retailer against set criteria, as stipulated in their returns and refund policy. For instance, certain items such as underwear or swimwear will not be allowed to be returned. Items below a certain value may prove too costly to be returned and as a result may not be accepted. Or the item might fall behind outside its window period of being accepted to be returned. Nevertheless, upon approval of the return, the retailer will assign a courier to collect the item and return it to the designated location or dark store. We do note that in some instances, online stores may expect customers to arrange their own courier for the return leg and pay for the service themselves. The client is then expected to prepare the parcel, add a returns address or label, add some other form of identification relating to the return request, plus complete paperwork, which in most cases will accompany the parcel. Then the client sits and waits for the courier to collect the said parcel. And after the courier has collected the parcel, they drop it off at the designated address and the processing steps will commence. At some point or points of this journey, the customer will be contacted by the online store and updated. In the case of a successful return, the customer is finally refunded, normally utilizing the same financial tool they originally used for the purchase. In this case as well, the online store may charge a processing fee, or as I said earlier, expect the customer to pay for the courier leg. So what does this tell us? As we can see, in each of these return channels, there is its own set of challenges, either to the end consumer or the retailer. If we focus for a moment on the end consumer first, we realize that some of his pain points and frustrations could include a genuine concern, regardless of the return channel, whether their returned item or items will actually be accepted and if they will be refunded in full. The in-store return option policy may be a challenge for some end consumers to actually commute to the store and physically return the items. Furthermore, using a call logging system to activate a return request may prove tedious to the end consumer, or sometimes online platforms are just really difficult to navigate. Additionally, expecting customers to wait around at their chosen address due to the unpredictability of the collection date and time could be met with resistance. And lastly, a turnaround time of approximately 10 to 14 days for a bank transfer of funds compounds the customer frustration, who only wish to get their money back into their account to spend elsewhere. But at the other end of the transaction, the retailer or online store have to contend with their own set of risks, as well as cost considerations. As we have seen, most of the retailers offer free online transactions, return transactions, and are having to pick up hefty courier bills at the end of every month. The condition of the online returned item isn't always known, and items may have been worn or damaged and may not be suitable for reselling. But the retailer or online store will still incur a collection fee in most cases on such items. Where an item is in a sellable condition, there's still a cost to rework and repackage that item that may never be recovered. Sometimes counterfeit items are also returned, and the retailer may only realize that after having refunded his customer. Very fragile items may also not survive the returns leg, as customers may have used inadequate packaging, and the product may need to be written off when it reaches its end destination. Lastly, the complexity for retailers to manage stock items and returns across the omni-channel environment proves to be a real challenge. For the most part, retailers are unable to accept store-bought items as a return back in an online or dark store environment, and are unable to unlock this feature for their customers. So where to from here? Reviewing the transaction holistically, we realize that a perfectly transitioned sales transaction can easily be derailed by a poorly executed returns process. And retailers have the ability to change that. There's a tangible opportunity here for retailers and online stores to set themselves apart from competitors if they are willing to focus some of the investments into creative back-end solutions and build a streamlined reverse logistics process to remove the current frustrations and perceived risks and barriers. The ability to handle true omni-channel returns will unlock a seamless experience for their customers. Part of that landscape will also need to involve new and groundbreaking ways to schedule predictable collections, plus employing best practices in terms of driver identification. Additionally, exploring immediate refund service options and creating consistency in the operational execution through rating programs will also be of value. And lastly, collating and remodeling data and analytical tools to inform innovative decision-making and uncover customer trends and behaviors will be invaluable. We understand that the single moment of truth is the customer experience, and providing an exceptional customer journey is the ultimate goal of every transaction. So we look forward to partnering with our clients on creative and innovative return solutions as we continue to align and support their growth ambitions in the e-commerce environment. Thank you very much for joining me today, and watch this space.
Thank you so much, Benita. That was really, really interesting. And you actually did have a question, but you managed to answer it in the presentation itself.
Good.
So thank you very much for that. Clearly, you covered the entire spectrum of what everybody was asking. Thank you, Benita.
Pleasure.